talking about a video in which they believe JK and Winter were seen at the beach together. We have some people locating Winter and Vent, and then we have a CEO talking about some of the frustrations with JK. So hey dumplings, it's Dave Desire, let's get into it. A Singaporean news site wrote an article talking about the lengthy process it took for JK to be officially signed with Hublot. This took a staggering 18 months to finalize. If you take the fact that he's probably been the ambassador for the watch brand a month or less after he left the military, so he was working on that deal from that point. Getting all of these amazing offers and all of this stuff the moment he left the military, I mean, that's crazy. But of course, the news articles talked about it from the perspective of him being in such demand, and the companies that want to work with him really want to work with him, that they're willing to take this 18-month process. Of course, for a company to take an 18-month process, this is not really that much money for them, especially for a luxury watch brand, but it would be for a lot of smaller brands, right? So, or for the general public, right? Because they would have to pay for a lawyer for 18 months. And even if they have a lawyer on retainer that works for them in their office, that lawyer would still have to put in a lot of effort and work. And that, of course, costs money. What likely happened was JK and his lawyer were going back and forth on the deal on what they wanted out of this ambassadorship. JK obviously deserves the best, so he probably was negotiating small details, such as having a release party maybe, although they would want that too, but maybe they were making sure that he gets proper promotion and that he's getting put out there. These are all things that lawyers do. The whole point of an artist doing an ambassadorship is for exposure, especially one that might not result in that much money for them. Like even if it's $10-20 million, that's not something that JK would need and would be something that would change his life anyway. So the main appeal here is probably going to be to try to get as much exposure as possible. And is the watch company going to put out a billboard, or are they going to do a red carpet for him and all that stuff? Of course, I'm sure money was part of the negotiation as well. It really shows that we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, and when I tell you that things in the industry take a long time, I definitely mean that lawyers sometimes will go back and forth for weeks non-stop, and then maybe just stop for months. And after the contract is signed, some people might not start the contract a few months later, and then potentially, if the contract was supposed to be started right away, then they started a few months later, they might have to renegotiate the contract again. So there's always all of these random things that happen that are out of people's control that kind of delay the process. And I'm glad that we got to see the ambassadorship come to life and be as big as what it is now before BTS had their comeback, because that would have definitely been tough to do for BTS, to be on tour for them and do all that sort of stuff and have promotion on TV and whatever, and then JK have to fly out to do this watch ambassadorship and then fly right back to BTS. Plus at that point, having JK do something outside of BTS is just going to confuse people, because they're going to be thinking, wait, are they doing solo activities right now? I thought they were in a group. So doing it now is best case scenario. Likely the CEO for the executives that were in charge of the contract were a little bit frustrated, and I can totally understand that. If this was me and I was negotiating with this company, I probably would have folded much sooner, not even because of legal fees, but because I doubt the company would have held out that long. And I would fear that if I pushed this on any longer, they would pull the contract and the offer. But of course, they're not going to pull the offer for JK, which is where he is so powerful. So recently, Winter was spotted at a G-Idol concert. It's so cool to see celebrities support each other and for girl groups to show up for other girl groups, because instead of them seeing each other as competition, they see them as a way to learn and be inspired by each other. There's really no reason for a celebrity to try to compete with each other, because the amount of fame and all that stuff that you get is pretty much written in the stars, I truly believe, and you're going to have as much as you're going to have. And you can spend that time hating another group, or you can spend that time trying to compete with them, or you can spend that time being side by side with them, who knows. And when all that fame goes away, you'll still have a friend that could potentially put you back up there, or you just have a friend that's cool to have. Some fans immediately spotted Winter at this show and started recording videos of her, and it was so cute because the moment she noticed people were recording her, she started posing and acting cute, and it was a great video that was going around. Some people were a little bit concerned because she was so easily visible that some people were worried that she might be attacked or that people were stalking her, hence why the video shows her. I doubt that this is the case. I think people noticed her and started recording. I don't think that there was anyone that was aware that she was going to be there and snuck into the concert to see her, and in fact, I'm sure that the concert was sold out, and most people found out about Winter's appearance was likely when they were there. I mean, all of this to say that there has been a general concern with her safety due to the recent JK and her dating rumors. Some people have been concerned about people that are recording her, wondering if they're going to use this as a way to perpetuate more dating rumors, or if they're going to use this as a way to target her and make fun of her. And quite honestly, that's a little bit of what's happened. There were so many people who were calling her ugly, and they were saying that she is aware that she's ugly, to even people saying that her and JK would never be together because JK would never pay attention to someone that looks like her. This is such an outrageous comment. It's quite literally one thing to throw an insult, and it's another thing to just completely lie. There's no way you look at her and honestly think that she is ugly. And above all, she quite literally is 100% worthy to date any idol she wants to. And this is coming from someone who is not a fan of aespa and their music. I don't particularly like the music, right? It just doesn't speak to me. But I know what's factually true. She's obviously absolutely beautiful. She is one of the top percent of beauty, hence why she gets all these beauty endorsements. And then on top of that, she's a multi-millionaire who has her own flourishing career. So she is also a top 1% earner. She can date anyone who she wants to date. And typically women like to date up and men like to date down anyway. So if you're going to say that JK is more successful, then they're a perfect match. Now that's not to say that they are indeed together. I don't think so. It's just to say that the criticism needs to stop because it makes no sense. In a world in which two people can date peacefully, I don't see that this is not an option. And I'll say the same thing with the ships that we believe JK could be dating. With that said, it was allegedly believed that Winter posted a video of her on the beach on her Instagram story. I say alleged because I was not around the time when this photo was posted, and I can't confirm if it was indeed posted on her story. But this is what people are saying online, and it shows a beautiful video of her at the beach at night with the sky present as well as crashing waves. You can hear the gorgeous waves crashing, and some people believe that they can hear JK's voice. And I think this is so funny because if in the 2 years the rumor moves on and Winter's believed to be dating someone else, people are going to go back to this clip and say, oh my god, that's actually the voice of this other person, and they're not going to say it's JK anymore. And that's so interesting because if you do that, then it's clear that this was never solid evidence to begin with. Like if you were to come back 2 years later to this video and say that this person is not me, it would make no sense. I would not be able to justify that answer because it quite literally is obviously me. Some people have talked about how you can see what appears to be two shadows standing in the video and they look awfully still. And if this person was recording, I doubt it would be this still. We also have to keep in mind that it's unlikely that Winter was going to the beach alone. And if she was, she obviously would go with someone. Does that mean it's JK? No. It could be one of her bandmates. It could be her manager. It could be her childhood friends. We don't know. It literally could be anyone, is what I'm saying here. Some people believe that they've heard kissing, or some people believe that they heard things in the background, and you can't hear anything. The waves are really loud. I barely really hear the voice of the people that we're talking about, honestly. And the fact that someone believes that a K-pop idol wouldn't have someone who would review the clip first before allowing it to be posted, or two, wouldn't listen to it 10 times over themselves before posting. For example, I remember I was working on a project with a really big influencer. They are kind of a big name on social media, and when I say that, I mean like when they are in a place, they will get mobbed. They are really famous online. And if I say them, I'm sure you guys would know who they are because they're on social media everywhere. I remember recording a video of them on a phone with their friend, and I was adding a caption to it and to make it funny and all that stuff, and it wasn't meant to be anything serious, and I posted it on my Instagram story. When I told the influencer friend that I did that, he wasn't mad or upset or anything like that, but he asked to see it, and the first thing he did is he goes to the audio and he listens to it to see if he spilled any tea with his friend on the phone to ensure that what was posted was not going to make anyone look bad. That's the first thing he did, and he's not an A-list celebrity. So you're telling me one that might be, or at least one close to being one, would not have at least checked if anyone was talking or if there was audio or anything like that in the video before posting? I don't believe it. If they were to check, they would obviously have not posted it if it was indeed JK's voice. And so there would have been no way that it was him. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you check out Patreon. I'll leave a link at the top of the description. Thank you so much for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.